Welcome to this edition of Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, where we are talking about how charitable gifting of real estate is bringing billions of dollars into the nonprofit world, yet so few people know about it. And on today's episode, we really want to drill down with the donors. Why would you even want to donate real estate? What are the benefits? And there's no one better to talk about that than Dr. Russell James. So, Dr. James, what's in it for the donor?
So, Cami, for folks that have philanthropic goals, they want to accomplish something through whatever philanthropic organization they're working with. One of the smartest ways to give is to use appreciated assets, and in particular, real estate that's appreciated can be a really powerful way to give. So, why do I say that it's more powerful? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that if you have an asset that's gone up in value, if you say, oh, I'm just going to sell it and then make a gift, well, if you do it that way, you're going to have to pay capital gains taxes. And so you're actually not going to have that full value left to do whatever you want to do philanthropically. The great thing is if you've owned that asset for more than a year, you could just transfer it directly to the charity. The charity can sell it with no capital gains tax, and you get a tax deduction of the full fair market value of that asset. Now, one of the things that most donors are completely unaware of that can be really powerful is that we can use a specialty nonprofit called the Donor Advised Fund so that you can do this even if you're working with a nonprofit that doesn't know how to deal with real estate, right? So let's say, maybe it's a local organization, a local church, whatever it may be. And if you talk to them about giving real estate, they get this deer in the headlights look of, oh, I don't think we know how to do, that sort of thing. You actually can work through one of these specialty nonprofits. It's a donor advised fund that specializes in this area of real estate transactions where you can transfer it to them. They then are pretty expert at closing that deal, getting that sale done in the right way. And then once that's closed and it turns into cash, you just direct wherever you want that to go. And it's just a check that comes to whatever charitable organization you have as your preference. So it's really a smarter way to give from a tax perspective because we get this double bonus. We not only get a tax deduction, but we also get to avoid those capital gains taxes that we're going to get hit with it if we sell it ourselves. So we always like to encourage these kinds of gifts. And by the way, I know there's lots of people these days who say, I can't use tax deductions. I'm not itemizing. A couple of things to keep in mind there. Even if you're not itemizing, you can still take advantage of avoiding those capital gains taxes. That doesn't require any itemization. The other nice thing about that real estate gift is you could make one of these real estate gifts and you could fund your next 5 or 10 years worth of charitable giving through it, which means when you make this gift, putting it into the donor advised fund, you get a massive tax deduction for that 1 year. So maybe in that 1 year, you're not going to take the standard deduction. And then for your next 5 or 10, you've already funded all your charitable giving and you can just take the standard deduction in those years. It's called bunching the standard deduction, but it's a great way that we can use real estate to accomplish those philanthropic goals.
Well, thank you for that. And as we're thinking of donors, we have nonprofits that are watching and they're thinking, like, what would I even say to my donor? How do I even bring this up? I know what you're going to say, but I want them to hear you say story.
Well, that's very true. I mean, there's nothing that is more compelling in a philanthropic context or a charitable giving context than story. And so the idea of sharing stories of other donors who have been able to accomplish their philanthropic goals by using appreciated assets like real estate. Because even donors get, very uncertain about this. Is this a normal thing? How does this work? And so the great thing is that getting connected with an expert in the field, a real agent of change, one of these specialty nonprofits, you'll be able to look at examples. Here's what people like you have done in the past when they've had these kinds of assets, right? Maybe it's a vacation home that I don't really want to deal with managing anymore, or could be even be a piece of farmland, or whatever the kind of real estate or other asset is. There will be these experts that have examples of saying, oh, well, here's what another person in your situation did, and here's the benefits that came to them, and they'll be more than happy to write that out to say, with your particular piece of real estate, here's what it would look like. Here's all the capital gains tax you avoid. Here's that massive upfront tax deduction you get. You can put that into a fund and use it, not just to make one gigantic gift this year, which is fine, but you could actually use a fund so that the cash goes into that donor advised fund, and then you make your charitable gifts for the next several years, however you want to transfer out from that fund. So that, again, stories are very helpful.
You know, I've heard you say that statistically, when someone donates real estate, they typically donate more than one piece in the same year, maybe out of convenience. And also, I've heard it said that when people donate real estate, they also end up giving more cash because there's that psychological shift. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we do see that a lot, and really it comes down to this. Look, most people, when they make charitable gifts, they think of their charitable giving as something that comes out of disposable income, right? It's pocket change decisions. And so I'm going to compare that to what I just spent at Starbucks, right? My other pocket change decisions. If you give a gift of real estate or any other appreciated assets, that is psychologically a very different process, because now you're not giving out of your disposable income, you're giving out of your wealth. And once we start to consider our wealth as being donation relevant, so to speak, then it can really transform what we see as being possible in the philanthropic space, because we begin to think of philanthropy not just as a pocket change decision, but as a wealth sharing decision. And we can start to see, wow, if I started thinking about my wealth philanthropically, what kind of an impact could I make with a share of that? And so that sort of mental accounting change that happens with donors, that can be very powerful. And we do tend to see this transformation that takes place when people make their first gift from their wealth, that is from an asset like real estate, rather than just thinking about giving as a pocket change or disposable income decision.
Mm, mm. Well, as you're starting to learn about charitable gifting of real estate, you will learn that donors all over the country are already donating. They're wanting to donate. They're trying to donate real estate. And we are just shining a light on that to help your nonprofit get funded by gifts of real estate and talk to your donors. So in this series with Dr. James, we will also be speaking about nonprofits and how they benefit from this type of a transaction or transformation, as we would like to say. And also we'll be having a series on real estate agents and financial advisors. So thank you, Dr. James, for helping us understand the benefits to the donors. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Real Estate is Hot. Fundraising, not so much. See you next time.